Hi, I'm Rich with insideHPC. We're here at the Stanford HPC conference, and I'm here with Bill Wagner from Bright Computing. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Well, great, great. You know, you're the new CEO of Bright Computing, and I thought we could get acquainted and say first, welcome to the HPC community.
Thank you.
Well, what attracted you to Bright Computing, Bill?
So, great question. So, I actually came to Bright from a MarTech company in the marketing technology space that focused on large enterprises, clients like Walmart and BMW and Visa and Intercontinental Hotels. And so that company actually served businesses in retail, travel, financial, hospitality, media, entertainment, companies that are not traditionally what you would think of as candidates for HPC. But what I noticed in working with these companies and the marketing applications that they used is that they were increasingly being pushed towards HPC in terms of the applications that they were using being more compute intensive, in terms of being very data intensive. And so I saw that, and then when the opportunity to engage with Bright came along, I connected the dots. I actually came initially, prior to that company, I was with BEA Systems for 10 years, so I actually came from the infrastructure space initially. So I kind of connected the dots between the infrastructure background and what I see happening more broadly with HPC, and thought it was a great opportunity.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I wanted to ask you about the future. You've only been on the job for a short time, right? But where would you like to take Bright Computing? You're kind of talking about household names there. Is that where you guys are headed, to be ubiquitous?
Yeah, obviously that's what we'd love to see happen. I think the technology is incredibly strong. The business they've acquired over 500 customers organically through the quality of the product. I think I'd like to see it much more pervasive. I think there's an opportunity for it to be immensely pervasive. If you look at the product, it is probably the best combination in the market for commercial offering of ease of use combined with feature robustness, right? So I think it will play very effectively for large enterprises as well as small enterprises, because if you look at the hurdles to adoption of HPC, some will talk about the price in getting in from a hardware perspective, but moreover, I think the complexity of it is a huge challenge, and not only for large organizations who may have more resources and talent to bring to bear in it, but certainly also for smaller organizations that probably don't have that talent, right? So what I envision is that we're taking our product, which is already very mature, robust, easy to use. Obviously, we're going to continue to build out on that, add more capabilities relative to OpenStack and big data, and I think there's going to be a huge opportunity for us to take it very broad.
Okay. Well, I guess last question is, we see that HPC is generally considered to be hard. Standing up these clusters is hard, but that's what you guys do very well. But I hear the same thing about Hadoop clusters, and Bright works there as well. Is that a means to get to where we talk about, where Bright growing like you want it to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at what we do fundamentally, right, with clusters, whether it's in the HPC space, whether it's with OpenStack, whether it's with big data, right, you have three kind of challenges, right? You've got the building of the cluster, you've got the managing of the cluster, and you've got the monitoring of the cluster, right? And we make doing all three of those very easy. The building piece happens, once, right? So that's a one-time thing, but it's a challenge nonetheless. The managing of the cluster, managing changes, bringing new hardware in, changing operating systems, re-imaging machines, things like that, that happens more frequently than the initial build, right? But still, not as frequently as monitoring. Monitoring is continuous, right? And so each of those three things are important. They all require ease of use, but they have different intervals, right? And different impacts on the organization in terms of how much resource it takes to do that, right? But at the end of the day, we do automate all three, and I think that's what's going to really help us carry the product forward in all three of those realms: HPC, big data, and OpenStack.